on this computer. All right, we are recording, guys. So if you don't want to be recorded, you may not want to be on the call. So this way we can capture all the wisdom of Kathleen and Bryan and hopefully Judy. I don't even see her logged in right now, so I apologize. I feel bad for her. I'm sure she's trying to figure this out. With that, once again, please, hi, Mike. Thanks for introducing yourself. Tamika, wonderful. Everybody's introducing there. Bob, welcome. And Mike's with Kahoot.org. Hey, man, we got Big Shots with us. Hey, Mike. Good to meet you. Great. And so please, hey, Mike, is that a flag behind you? Did you serve? Thank you for your service. All right. And I'm handing it over to the most esteemed, almost PhD, Dr. Bryan Cox. Bryan, all yours.
How's it going, everybody? Not quite a doctor yet. Still have quite a bit of work to do for that. My name is Bryan Cox. I am the Computer Science Program Specialist at the Department of Education. We're in Georgia, not the U.S. Department of Ed, the Georgia Department of Education. We are excited about some of the changes going on with computer science. We are in the process of transitioning from high school electives to an entire K-12 discipline with all the wonders and challenges that come along with that. I went to the State Board of Education dry run for our board meeting next week. So we're taking some K-8 standards to the Board of Education next week, hopefully to go off a public review. Look for those, give us any comments, any salutations or critiques and criticisms. They'll be available sometime, they'll be available after next week. So sometime later in December, they'll be out for 30 days. A lot of the challenges that we found dealing with CS and K-12 is one, teacher capacity. That's the huge issue. We're doing a lot of work to address that issue. We have steadily grown our list of credentialed teachers. We have an endorsement and a CS certification that are available for teachers at the high school level. I've been at this job for 2 years, and we've grown from 33 teachers to 76 to the most recent count was 243. So we're making progress. We still have a long way to go. So we got standards, we got teacher certification. One of the things that we're looking into is how to integrate computational thinking and computer science across the curriculum. So we'll be looking to do some implementation plans this upcoming spring and during the summer. And one of the challenges that I found, because when I was a teacher 2 years ago, and I taught high school. So I know all about high school and high school computer science. I taught AP computer science. I'm very well versed in that. I am very ignorant to the challenges that are faced by elementary school teachers and elementary school principals. But I've been fortunate enough to come across some very knowledgeable and dynamic elementary school principals, and they have some dynamic programs. And this call is about hearing from them and listening to their story and hearing what they have to say. The CS for Georgia is partnered with the Department of Education and Wiregrass Technical College as part of a NSF grant to figure out how to do K-12 computer science in various contexts. We're looking at urban districts. We're using APS as our example for urban. Suburban, we're using Douglas County. And we have 3 rural districts, Thomas, Ben Hill, and Brooks in South Georgia. During one of these meetings, I was able to meet Kathleen French, who is a principal in Douglas County and an elementary school in Douglas County. And she was telling us about all the things that her school is doing in regards to computer science. And I was floored and amazed. It's not just what her school is doing, but the energy that she brings to the program and what she brings to the table. I think it catches on. Like it's what is the word when there's a disease that's well, whatever the word is.
Contagious.
Contagious. There we go. Thank you, Matt. It's contagious, and I can see it in her teachers and the students. When we were walking out to the car, students were excited to say hi to her. So she's doing some really good things out there, and we look forward to hearing from her. And I'll go ahead and talk about Judy as well. Judy, I saw at the STEM Forum this year. If you don't go to the STEM Forum, please make it there next year. It's a fantastic experience, thousands of teachers, lots of different presentations about all sorts of innovative ideas and designs. And Judy was on a panel of teachers talking about how to implement STEM, and she ended up talking a great deal about what they're doing with computer science at every level of her elementary school. So, and I was amazed and immediately rushed up to her and say, hey, we need you. We need you to talk to the rest of the state. So we'll start off with Kathleen, and then we'll move on to Judy. Hopefully she'll be back on by then to share with us their experience, their challenges, their successes, and any words of wisdom or advice that they may give. Kathleen?
Hi there, Bryan.
Hi.
Good afternoon, everybody. Kathleen French from Mason Creek Elementary in Douglas County. I want to share a little background with you of how we became interested in computer science. Well, about 5 years ago, I was watching a PSA about code.org and the Hour of Code, and it was Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and our former President Barack Obama. And they shared some data that really struck me. That 90% of our schools in this country did not have or offer computer science classes, that in the year 2020, there will be 2 million vacant jobs that require computer science skills, and that only 18% of computer science graduates were females. That just struck a chord with me. And I said, as an elementary principal, you know, we set the ground for students and their interest, and exposing them to as much as we could with computer science. Well, you know, that was my goal. Well, we started off small, and we did a STEM day, and 2 of our rotations were through code.org. One was a K2, I think there's somebody on there from code.org. It was Puppy's Adventure, and the other was Angry Birds, which is really, really popular with kids. So we had that day, and I could not believe the excitement of the kids. They were so pumped, and the teachers were so pumped seeing the kids happy. So from that day on, we sought out to do as much and learn as much about how we could offer our students coding. And, you know, with code.org, it was free. You just have to register. So what we did is we did a little creative staffing. And we have a wonderful school district, a wonderful central office and superintendent who are forward-thinking and want to provide for our students what they're going to need in their futures, not what we needed in our future. And so they allowed me to do some creative staffing, and I was able to take a teacher and make that teacher a STEM teacher. And basically what she began doing was teaching coding, and we started off with 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade through code.org at the very beginning of the year, and then saw that, well, there were other opportunities out there. And, you know, with Scratch Junior, and so we offered it to kindergartners and 1st graders and 2nd graders. And it just, the enthusiasm was so amazing. I mean, kids were asking, can I stay in from recess and get on code.org, you know? And I'm sure you all remember when you were in elementary school, recess is probably the most popular time of the day. So, I mean, the enthusiasm with the kids was wonderful. That's their world, is computer science. And technology is in every field, not just in a select programming field. It's in every field. So we reached out to our local university, which is the University of West Georgia, and we were able to get a partnership with Dr. Jonathan Corley, who's in the computer science program there. He came out and he worked with our teachers and tried to teach a little coding to our teachers. And as I told Bryan at our meeting, it was like a social experiment, because those teachers became children, and we saw all kinds of behavior, high interest, and for those technologically savvy teachers, and we had a bunch of teachers that were maybe not so engaged. So basically, that's, you know, our beginning of computer science at Mason Creek. Then we started discovering there are all kinds of tools. We have Ozobots in every grade level, and we found out about Ozobots, which are like little bots that it's a combination. I don't know if you're familiar with Ozobots, but it's a combination of the physical and the digital worlds, where kids would have a plain piece of paper and map out a route, and using different color markers and different codes. And so it's a combination of unplugged coding and digital. And so we've been building that coding skill in a lot of different ways. In kindergarten, we do an introduction to coding, and it from first grade on, it's more application. In first grade, students are read a book, and then they code the story with the teacher. In second grade, they write stories and then bring it to the STEM class or the coding class, and then they code their stories. And then in third and fourth grade and fifth grade, we have our students on code.org, and they have a learning path. So they're moving up in their talent with coding. We also started an all-girls coding club, and we do have a sponsor from the University of West Georgia, who her all-girls, I think they call it computer, it's not coding class, it's an all-girls computing club. And they come over and they sponsor our all-girls coding club. And there is no competitive opportunity at the elementary with coding. And so basically our girls either present to other classes, or they had the opportunity last year to present at Douglas County Courthouse to the public, just to share about coding with the community. We also have 2 robotics teams, and we've had those robotics teams for a number of years, and those students learned how to program the robot to follow the commands to accomplish the tasks that they're asked to do. And they are in a competitive league. So we started off with, and again, you have to go out there and solicit the help that you need. At first, we tried to get teachers to be the robotics coach, but everybody was afraid to do it. So we had a parent step up who really didn't know much about robotics, but was willing to learn, and just generating that kind of interest. The barriers that we face, of course, are funding. You know, currently, it would be nice if we could have more support staff and more funding. But what we have done here is Google has been a fantastic supporter of us. They have provided, between Google and Project Lead the Way, we have raised over $60,000 to buy tablets and various kits to help us in our STEM program. So funding, of course, is a big, barrier for us. Interest is high with the kids. We try to integrate coding as much as possible in the classrooms, or computer science in some fashion or form. We use a lot of apps in the upper grades for students to, for instance, ChatterPix, if they want to. They can upload, I think it's called a Smash app or something, where you combine 2 apps. So they take a digital picture of something and then upload it to ChatterPix, and then they can record their voice and explain whatever their project is. And the kids love working with technology and computer science. It's their world. And so we are endeavoring to learn as much as possible about computer science at Mason Creek Elementary. Bryan, can you think of anything else I need to share?
Well, I would love for you to share a lot of other stuff, because it's not just CS, but I think this is supposed to be a restrictive CS space, but they're doing a lot of good stuff with STEM. They have a garden, they got.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll be happy to share that too.
But yeah, I don't see that Judy has gotten back on.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay. Okay, well, Mason Creek, we are the only elementary school in Douglas County currently that is certified STEM school. And in every grade level, we have an overarching theme that's related to the Georgia standards. In kindergarten, our students are gardeners. They grow plants. They plant them at the beginning of the year. Some are in the window. Some use grow lights. We've transplanted them outside. We have sponsors from the Douglas County Victory Garden and the University of Georgia Extension Service, and they come here and they talk to kindergartners about the various, what they need to have plants grow and be successful, and the seasons that plants should be grown, and just giving them all kinds of support and becoming really talented gardeners at 5 and 6 years old. In first grade, we have a chicken coop, and basically our kids have fed and watered our chickens, and this has been a couple of years of we had Eagle Scouts build our chicken coop, so it's been a community endeavor from the beginning. And although we don't have that many eggs, I'd say our 5 chickens produced about a dozen eggs a week. So not enough to sell as a business, but we have been raffling them off. It's winter now, so apparently chickens don't lay eggs in the winter when they're outside. It's molting season or something. I'm learning with the kids, so you're gonna have to forgive me. And I'm from Bronx, New York, and we don't have a whole lot of chicken houses up in the Bronx, but I'm learning an awful lot about how to raise chickens with my first graders. In second grade, their standard is metamorphosis. So they are looking at how a tadpole becomes a frog, and we have tadpoles in every class in first semester, and in second semester, we're gonna have butterflies. Well, they'll become butterflies. And a third grade, we are environmentalists, and last year was plastics, this year it is paper. And in fourth grade, it's the science of sports, and in fifth grade, they're landscapers. We have so many partners in the community that support us, particularly, in fifth grade with the landscaping, we have a local landscaping company with a landscape architect, we have civil engineers who have come in and talked to our fifth graders. Even Douglas County GIS, which is Geographic Information Systems, they have supported us with maps. The children are looking at our campus from an aerial view to determine where fifth graders want to put our Victory Garden. So we have a lot of people and support in every grade level, helping our students learn how to apply real life skills right here in elementary school. Currently, ArcGIS, which is a tool that Geographic Information Systems personnel use for mapping. And that is something that we are looking, that is also another free program that if you go on esri.com, that you can download. They have for elementary school. And so we are going to do that with our fifth graders in combination with what they're doing with landscaping, so that they see the map that we got from Douglas County GIS, but they'll be able to create their own maps. And so, all of this is a labor of love on the part of, administration, teachers, our central office folks supporting us. Pam Walker, who is our STEM coordinator, supports us in everything we do. And we can do such wonderful things for kids today that it motivates them and brings out their innate interests. So that school is a more enriching experience at the elementary level. We still teach reading, writing, and math, but they apply it in real world settings. So anything else, Bryan, that I have left out that I shared with you?
No, I think you shared a lot. I appreciate it. That point you touched on just a minute ago, the fact that you still teach reading, writing, and math.
Yes.
But what the STEM curriculum and also the computer science affords you is the ability to apply it, to contextualize that. That's one of the things that I think somebody in the chat brought up that they wanted to hear about, and I know that that's one of the things I'm interested in when we talk about implementing these new KA standards, is how to integrate this into other courses. I know that in elementary school, your teachers they're already tapped to the brim as far as their curriculum and their time, and it makes it easier if the CS is integrated into their math or into their language arts class. Do you have any experience with teachers doing that?
Oh, absolutely. That is the biggest barrier, by the way, is teacher buy-in. And that's the first thing you really have to work on, is you have to have your whole staff buy into this, because it is a collective effort. STEM is, a major portion of STEM is the collaboration piece. And it's not just the kids. I mean, the classroom should be student-centric, but your teachers have to collaborate in order for this to work. And it can't be like one person on the team or even 3 out of 4. It has to be a collective effort. And so basically, the easiest way to explain this is they come together for collaborative planning, and they look at an overarching standard. It could be social studies, it could be science, it could be math. And then from there, they build it to where all of the subjects are involved in the planning. And then they bring in the technology piece and the hands-on activities. But you have to they have to teach the skills in order then to apply them. So it is a collaborative effort, and the whole school has to be willing to take part and do their share, so everybody's accountable. And then the kids, actually the kids are the easy part, Bryan, because if you plan and have a school where everything is integrated, they want to do better. They want to learn because they are being taught skills that empowers them, the creativity, the problem solving. And, recently I read an article, and it had to do with growth mindset and coding. And basically this article stated how growth mindset, that coding, it really supports growth mindset because it's all problem solving and helping not just students, but grown-ups really sustain effort to accomplish a task or solve a problem. And in order to be successful in life and continue, you really do have to have a growth mindset. So back to coding, it's a problem-solving effort, but it helps somebody believe in themselves and have that growth mindset.
Yeah, the students are the easy part. Having the growth mindset and giving that to them means that the teachers have to have it first. A question. How often do the teachers do that collaborative planning?
Weekly. They have, they plan every day, but, one day it could be instructional, second day data examination, third day. They have to have professional learning too. So we embed in our schedule every Monday is some form of professional learning, and they do that during their planning period. But my teachers stay after school 1 day a week to do what we call collaborative team planning, where they're planning the big picture and then coming back and refining it or, remodeling it because not everything works the first time you plan it.
Nice. You said you reached out to, so there's two points that you mentioned that I keyed in on. One was the clubs that you have. You said you got 2 robotics clubs and a girls who code club.
Yeah. Yes.
Are they well attended? And you said that the parents are integral in that?
Well, in the past, actually, the parents were, our first year, actually, we had a parent who was the coach. But the second year and after that, when our teachers saw the interest and the excitement and that it wasn't as hard as they thought it would be, I've had teachers be the sponsors for the last 3 years. So, yes, we have, actually, it's an application process. We have to turn kids down because
Wow.
there's only, if you're familiar with the competitive aspect of it, there's only so many kids that can compete. And so, but by the same token, we want as many kids to be able to participate. So that's why we have two, because we want to increase participation. But we have to have an application process. And same thing for the Old Girls Coding Club. We have an application process.
Nice. That's phenomenal. That shows the student interest there.
Absolutely.
There's a question in the chat from Mike. He says, when the CS collaboration is happening, is there typically representation by a designated computer science or STEM teacher, or is it just groups of teachers of other subjects who are working to build in coding and CS somehow?
Okay, so I do have a STEM teacher, and she has become our unofficial CS person, and because she has become the expert. So she collaborates with our teams when it comes to what computer technology we want to include in our units. But I do have several teachers who have become experts and have introduced various apps that they can use in different grade levels. And another portion that I didn't mention was several years back, I have gone to STEM schools and observed, and I've sent my teachers to STEM schools. And so we've brought back a lot of ideas from other schools, which that's where you get your best ideas, is to borrow them from others. And so we have, had the opportunity to find a lot of things out through other schools. And our teachers will come back and use these tools and ideas in their lessons as well.
Nice. Let's see what else. What other questions? Mike also wants to know, and I don't know if you've seen this. Do you know of a particularly successful integrated project?
Talk about a successful integrated project. Wow, there's so many of them. Okay, all right. Oh, I should have been prepared with that. All right, so let me talk about in 5th grade, they teach in science characteristics of various living organisms. And so when they have written about them in language arts, in math, they have discussed whatever standards that that they can apply to whatever that particular activity is. But the one that I'm thinking of that I want to share with you was they used Chatterpix, and the students were able to go and research their animal, and they would take a screenshot, download it to Chatterpix, and then they would record various characteristics of the animal that they wanted to share in their gallery walk. And basically, the culminating activity was all of these recordings. Students had their headphones, and they would do a gallery walk around the classroom, and with their little clipboards, and all of the tables were numbered, and they would have to cite what animal it was, whether it was a mammal or if it was a fish, or whatever the case may be, so that the students would be able to understand and be able to choose what the characteristics of certain animals were. And I remember one student, unfortunately, described beautifully what his animal was, except he included a characteristic that was from another species. And so what I loved what the teacher did is he used that as an opportunity for error analysis, where not to make the child feel bad, but you know what, you gave us a good opportunity for error analysis. What is wrong with this animal's description that doesn't belong? And so that's higher order thinking right there. And so there's so many different opportunities that our students have here. I wish that I had a list of them right now, but
well, that's a
on the spot.
yeah. Mike apologize for putting you on the spot like that.
That's okay.
But that's an excellent point that that I'd like to point out. With that, it lends towards a fault tolerance or a failure tolerance that a lot of our students don't have.
Right.
They get the idea that if they fail, then that's it and it's over, and they feel like failures, as opposed to with a lot of our programming curriculum and concepts, failure is built into it. Like, in order to have a reiterative process that works towards an effective solution, you have to be able to tolerate failure and learn from your failures. So the fact that the teacher keyed in on that and pointed out to the students was powerful.
In social studies, that one was, when Christopher Columbus holiday came up, students did a lot of research and saw a lot of information, what we teach in the standards and what is out there in the research that children can see is very interesting. So after they did their research and they presented, is Christopher Columbus a hero or a villain? And for third graders, that was pretty interesting. And then the end up of it would be that each student chose their perspective and then they debated on it. So, I mean, we're talking about doing things with young children, because third graders are only 8 years old, that is building those critical thinking skills. We're not telling them we're not opening up their heads and pouring information in. We're giving them the opportunity to learn information and make critical decisions for themselves based upon the research that they do. So there's so many sides to STEM besides computer science. A computer science activity, third grade math with geometry, and building a city or a neighborhood using 2D and 3D shapes. So there's lots of opportunities out there for elementary school, and that's okay, Mike. I'm sorry, I hope I had better examples for you.
Oh, no, those are great. And in the chat, they're throwing out some examples as well. Hillary Felina said e-textiles are a great way to keep girls interested in middle school. They were mentioning dropout in middle school. Earlier, Tamika mentioned that she said their clubs are also going to application, and there's a concern that they aren't creating a pipeline. So thinking about the student diffusion, one, the coding experiences that you have in the school, are they offered through a special?
Yes. And that's the only way that we're able to do it. And every student in the building gets to attend that special once a week for 50 minutes. And, that's not a lot, but it is the opportunity for them to learn coding at that time.
Yeah. And you said every student in the building gets it, which is? Every
student in the building, K-5, okay? And, you talked about the various categories of students. And we are a special ed school too. I mean, we have a lot of special ed programs here, and everybody is included. So that's something I'm very proud of, that we give every student the opportunity to learn something that is forward thinking.
Okay. Let's see, what's another question? Tamika also said, how do you highlight the teacher's growth in TEAC standards during conferences to spur the change management?
Okay. That's
How to motivate teachers with TEKS.
okay. So I told you the collaboration piece is
That was
super important,
Yep.
you know. And so that really comes under communication and professionalism, that they have to participate in the collaborative process in order to have these kinds of lessons for students. We also, including technology and instructional strategies. Here we do a lot of assessment with technology as well. And we use something called active expression. And people say, well, kindergartners can't use active expression, but yes, they can. And if they have difficulty, we recommend that the teachers highlight the buttons that the students will need to participate in that particular activity in orange to make it easier for them. So there's ways to differentiate in order for students to be able to participate. So it's a no excuses kind of thing. And, there's always the glow and grows for those teachers who are maybe new and need some support. So in the TEKS process, we do glows and grows for them, maybe under instructional strategies or assessment strategies or assessment uses.
Nice. Glows and grows. I've always heard that's effective. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's see, Matt Harris says he's over media, and he's found that media is very underutilized in most schools. It's a great way for them to add additional STEM and CS opportunities.
Yes. Okay, so that was something I was going to speak on earlier, and it just left my head. Our media specialist went to a summer training by the State Media Specialist of the Year and learned about Makerspace. And actually, that's where we learned about Ozobots.
Okay.
And so my media specialist, she has invested a lot of her media budget in buying various tools to facilitate STEM learning. And we do a schedule of times classes come in, and they do centers. So they do STEM centers, which include Ozobots, which include building and, just various STEM activities. But it's also a time, it is the media center, where the media specialist can conference with students on their reading and what books they have out, and to, to help them. We have a color-coded system with our Lexiles, so students can read books on their Lexiles, but also can build up where they increase and move up to another level. So she uses it in a very nice way, having those centers already prepared for students, and then being able to work with students on reading and reading comprehension at the same time.
Hey, Bryan.
Yes.
We got Judy.
All right.
All right.
Judy, can you say something?
Hi.
Hey!
Kathleen, you've been
Better late than never, I
Thank
guess.
you.
Thank you.
All right.
What?
Can you say something again?
I'm having an audio.
Audio problems.
I can see Kathleen.
Hi there.
Well, we'll
Hi,
make the
Judy.
best of it. Why don't you just try and your best, and we will let you know if we need you to try harder. How about that? Okay, Kathleen, I'm going to mute you, and we're going to let Judy share her story. And Judy, Bryan shared earlier how he really liked your presentation earlier at was it the STEM conference, Bryan?
Yeah, it was a state STEM forum. She kind of floored me, and I had to rush up to the stage to get her number.
Yeah, you got a fan. We got a fan club president right there. So Judy, if you could share whatever you shared, we've got about 18 minutes, and you can have the rest of the time, and we will just send you. If you could just speak for about 10 minutes, and then I'm sure people will have some questions for you as well. They had some good ones for Judy. And then Bryan, before we end, I think we had some global Georgia kind of questions. If you could take a look at some of the chats, some people had broader questions. But Judy, all yours. Please share about your work and your school.
Okay. First of all, let me tell you all about Eton. Eton is a small school in northwest Georgia. We are one of 6 elementary schools in Murray County. We are what we consider the North School. We're the only school in Murray County to be STEM certified. And the reason we became STEM certified is that I felt like we, after visiting other schools, that we needed something that could help our children look to the future. We have two industries in Murray County. One is carpet and the other is engineered flooring. And we basically have two mills, and that's all we had. So our students either went to the carpet mill, or they became teachers, or they just left the county. And we thought, we've got to do something to show our students that there's another way to learn, and there's just a great big world out there. So we went to visit all kinds of schools. We went over to Gilbert Elementary, where Matt was, and we went to Brookwood, which is like the queen of the STEM schools in this area. And we kept going around, and we kept talking to the schools, and we would send out teams so that all our teachers were looking at STEM schools, because I didn't want to come back and say, this is what we're going to do. But every time I sent out a team, they'd come back and go, we need to do this. And so I thought we were on the right direction. And our science teachers, what we had to do is we shared science teachers in the county. We shared our 3rd and 4th grade teacher with another school. So they weren't getting a full year of science. They were getting 7 weeks with us, 7 weeks with another school. So we thought we had to change that. And to do that, we're going to do STEM. And they came in and they told us what to do. And then we were doing it for a year. And then we asked our superintendent if we could do it all the way. And she said, it sounds like a good idea. And our elementary coordinator jumped on board with us. The other elementary school said, we're really not interested in this. So how about you just doing it all? So we said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And let me see we had to have faculty buy-in. So the way we started doing that is we decided we wanted to cover 4 areas. We wanted to have a robotics team. We wanted to have grants. We wanted to have short-term projects and long-term projects. And we also wanted to align the standards with all of this. So I asked the teachers to choose their committees. So I wasn't going to choose it. I wanted them to choose it, and they did. And so they got real excited about it, and everybody talked about it. Like I said, we visited other schools. And we've decided that for the long term, they wanted to do bees and coding. And bees are very important to our area because we're agricultural. We have a lot of farms. We have a lot of bee farmers in the area. So we felt like that would be really good. So that was our long term. Our short term, we all tied into the standards. And we did not buy any pre-made kits. The science teachers with the teachers would do professional development, and they came up with the STEM projects. So we wanted to do coding. We wanted all our students to code. And we sent some teachers to the code.org training, and they came back and they were real excited about it. So we got the whole county to come up to our school for code.org. We did the first hour of coding, and then we did days of STEM, and we did more coding in the kindergarten through 6th grade, all codes. And one of our problems, I said this earlier, one of our problems now is we need to find programs that will push us forward with coding and also push us forward with computer science. So we had resources. North Georgia Electric, which is our electric cooperative in this area, they gave us a $2,500 grant to start us off on our STEM projects. And we used that, and then we wanted to have robots in all our rooms, so we did the robotics started. We did after-school fundraisers. We would do dances, and then we would sell a variety of different things. And so we were able to buy all these little robots for all our different grade levels. We also had a Lowe's $5,000 grant that helped us build gardens for our bees, and then the Conasauga River Alliance came, and they helped us decide how we were going to do our erosion. So this was our 3-year term line for our technology. In kindergarten, we use our B-bots. In 1st and 2nd grade, we use Dash. In 3rd and 4th grade, we use the WeDo robots. In 5th and 6th grade, we use the EV robots. And every class uses the robots in some capacity. And then we had a robotics team our first year. And in our first year, they were known as the BatBots. And so they competed in Chattanooga, and they moved on to the super regionals. Then they competed at Ridgeland High School, and they moved on to the state. And then they competed at Georgia Tech. So our robotics team was very excited. And the way we chose our robotics team is they had to make application. We didn't just say, oh, you're one of the better, smarter children. No, they had to make application. How do you work with students? How would you work with this team? What's your strong point? What's your weak point? And they did all that, and so we chose 4 from 4th grade, 4 from 5th grade, and 4 from 6th grade. And they, every year, if when the 6th graders move on, then we get 4 more from the 4th grade, and they keep moving up. Saturday is our first robotics competition for this year. We will be in Ridgeland High School, which is about 30 miles from us, and we're real excited. They are going to be the Eton Eclipse group, and their project this year is to find out a way to help the astronauts. Last year we were the Water Warriors, and again we moved on to Super Regional. So our students like to use the robots. They also like to code. Our bees, we do a grade level thing for bees. Kindergarten does communication and plants. They help plant the flowers that will attract the bees. Our 1st grade, every 1st grade class has worms. They have a worm farm so we can compost. Our 2nd grade has plants that attract the bees. 3rd grade, we recycle so we can save the planet for the bees. Our 4th grade knows the importance of the bees. The 5th grade makes the products from the beeswax, and our 6th grade is working on stopping erosion. So every grade level has something specific they do for our bees. We also did a lot of professional learning. We went to RISA for technology in the classroom. We have Google classes. We did clear learning targets for math. We did number talks at RISA, teaching code with code.org. We did Georgia STEM problem-based learning. Every year we have sent a group to the Georgia STEM conference, which really fires them up and brings them back. We did summer math academies. We did science bit training. So we've just done a variety. We also have partners in Murray County that help us. We had Keep Murray Beautiful. Gary Beavers with the Beavers Family Farm is our beekeeper, and he comes in and helps us check our bees. Brenda Jackson with the Murray County Extension Agent through the University of Georgia helps us. North Georgia Electric, Home Depot, and then our feeder schools, Bagley Middle and North Murray. So we got very active with our STEM, and in May 12, 2017, we were STEM certified. Now we want to work on being computer science literate and also becoming STEAM in 2022. I won't be here, but that's okay. So, I'm good. And that's me. That's
Excellent. So again, I like the STEM STEAM focus and making computer science a component of that larger body. There's money out there for STEM and STEAM. One of the reasons I do that, and that's how we can get some of this computer science programming funded, is through those initiatives. There's been a recent STEM, what was it that, it was yesterday, the national STEM calendar or STEM plan was released, and there's a lot of computer science and computational thinking included in that. They talked a lot about integrating it into other courses. So do you have any experience with integration? That's been a big conversation so far today.
We do integrate throughout all our content. Like I said, when we decided to become a STEM school, we did not want to just focus on the gifted students. We wanted it to be all our students. And we have found out that as we incorporated it in all content areas, that it really has brought more meaning to the children. So if you go to almost any classroom, you're going to find a lot of incorporation. Our physical education teacher, she even incorporates STEM in her lessons and what things that she does. Our music teacher was working toward our STEAM. So we have found that everybody bought in, and that was the key. Everybody bought in, and everybody is willing to help children look at learning in a different way. So we are very fortunate that across the content area, our media specialist, you were talking, Kathleen, about your media specialist, right from the jump start, she wanted to do maker spaces. So she developed her own maker spaces, and the kids love to go in there and work, and she just is very STEM oriented too. So I have been fortunate that the faculty has just really said, yes, this is what we want to do, and it's worked across all the contents.
Excellent. And again, so just so everybody hears, we keep saying that we've heard multiple times that teacher buy-in, that buy-in across the, not just teachers, but the students are an easy buy-in. Having teacher buy-in, having some parent support, having support from the district and from the RESA, all of those things matter. That's been fantastic. I think we have, 7 minutes left. Are there any other pressing questions that anyone has for either Judy or Kathleen?
I can unmute you if you wave your hand, or just unmute yourself. Who has a question for anybody? We want to have a question for Judy or Kathleen or both. I'm going to unmute Kathleen so she can respond. Okay. So one of the questions that I have for you, Bryan, is that I think someone had a question earlier about I really would like to see the state curriculum map reworked or better align content across subjects. Districts have created this, but it hurts students that transfer to other systems. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree. I've seen some fantastic things done at individual schools where they've been very innovative in their curriculum or in how they approach putting some courses together in order to serve the students, in order to give them that integrated experience. It's going to be difficult for them to transfer to another school. There's been conversation about that at the state level. Right now at the high school level, we're working on pre-calc, the table to get some more people to be open to contextualizing some math instruction. But one of the goals for once these K-8 standards get done is to figure out exactly how to implement them. So, and one of the ideas is to create some courses that are by design or in some standards by design integrated with different standards. So create a course that integrates the computer science with English lessons or with math lessons or social studies. I'd love to hear, Judy, how your PE teacher integrates STEM into their curriculum. I've seen that maybe once or twice otherwise, but they often don't get lumped in because the PE isn't a word in STEM or STEAM, but it definitely needs to be included.
What she has done, it was like she took the standards, and a lot of them were like with the motions, and she developed a plan that she not only tied in, like she did a thing that was kind of out of the norm, where they taught about roller coasters. And then she has also done a thing where she has used the motions with her words. And, usually you don't teach words in PE. So what she did was she took the words and she made a project out of it for them to help discover sounds and wording. And she used that. She did that. She's done the same thing with numbers. So she has helped them create different projects that they put up there. They had wrote about their STEM project, and she had that on the board. So they do a variety of things. And she is just, like I said, she believes in the program. So she looks for ways that she can incorporate the technology. They do a lot of course, this is not like kind of necessarily STEM, but they do a lot of things with technology, things on the board, on the wall that she can project. And they create different, basically you have to they had to design houses to withstand balls being thrown at them, so they had to know the velocity of the balls, and they did their houses with hula hoops. So she finds ways to incorporate, the whole process of STEM.
That's fantastic. I love it. Hillary Fleener in the chat box says she's seen great lessons for elementary PE where the students create programs like using Scratch, using dance moves in Scratch and share with other students. I was at a hour of code yesterday at Georgia Tech, and they were doing this hour of code is focusing on a lot of dance. And after they would do the code, they would create the dance on the program, on the code.org program. then the students would also dance while the figure was dancing on the screen. So there's a physical component and then also the programming component, and they recorded it, and it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, our students were doing that today. They were dancing, doing the little dance over code.org. They were doing it in all grade levels and said, "Come here, look at this, watch this." So they really liked that code.org. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, ladies, I appreciate you tremendously. I'll probably continue to send people your way, and when I put together an implementation team, I may tap you and see if you're interested in helping us figure out how to share some of these ideas more broadly with the rest of the state. But thank you so much for showing up and sharing your wisdom and your experience with us. I appreciate you. Co, you want to take it home?
Let me wrap it up. Folks, thank you so much for joining the call. This is being recorded. We will be sharing this back. If you want to sign up to receive our emails and to receive a recording and some notes from me, I'll send it to Bryan and Kathleen and Judy just to make sure I've captured some of the summary. It won't be detailed, but just some of the highlights, and we might provide links to some of the resources that were mentioned. Go to www.cs4ga.org, sign up for our MailChimp, and you'll get announcements like these. We are going to be looking forward to some new topics coming in the new year, looking at equity in CS in Georgia's school systems. We have a couple of experts in our area and around the state, so we will be trying to engage them. Looking at policy, bringing back the policy topic that was in September as the Georgia legislature gets into full swing to see what we think of policies that might be helpful and other topics that might be useful to folks. And feel free to email us if you think of some topics for the state. Once again, thanks to Kathleen and Judy. Great stuff. And one of the things I'm thinking for Bryan for our website, what I would love to do is be able to have a place on our website where folks can go and be able to see what their district is doing. And there might be district contacts, there might be data. This is on our website. Bryan created this on where we are with some data for a couple of years ago. We need to update it. So in our resources, maybe we can have a place where people can go and say, hey, I want to visit some schools that are doing exemplary CS work. Who's the point of contact? So for example, that will make it easier, for example, so that you don't have to send Bryan folks to Judy and Kathleen. They're super busy superstars. Maybe somebody on staff is a designated person, and maybe we have a list on our website that you can click and say, oh, Kathleen has designated this STEM person, or Judy's designated this STEM person, and they're the point of contact for visits, questions, so that Kathleen and Judy, because they're superstars, we want them to do super stuff, and lowly people like you and Bryan and I will just work with their staff. Guys, we love you. Great stuff around the state. Georgia is doing some great work, and we hope to keep sharing success stories soon. Be on the lookout for us, giving you all the opportunity to upload YouTube videos of teachers, students, parents doing great things. Matt, Mike, everybody, you know, people who are local, people who are from around the country, thank you for logging in. So great to have folks, but look out. We're going to be trying to empower all of you to go to Twitter, Facebook, and our YouTube accounts to share success stories. And some of those we'll be highlighting on our website. Lots to come. Thank you for joining us. This is being recorded. I will share it all back. Feel free to say anything in the chat box as you sign off. I'm going to stay on, but you guys please go ahead and chat in the chat box. I'm going to unmute so you guys can say bye to each other if you want.
Bye, Co. Goodbye, Bryan. Goodbye, Judy and Matt Harris. Take care.
Bye, Kathleen. Thank you.
Kendall, were you crying? Was that your
Judy.
tears? Because it was such a...
It was so awesome. I was so excited.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. You're welcome, Judy. Thanks for fixing the problems and joining us, Judy.
So that was more thing.
Bye, y'all. Thank you, Bryan.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you, Judy. We appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Sorry, it was.
You were great. You were great.
All right. And after, when I went back to the DOE and mentioned what was going on, I heard some, man, Eton, oh, they're doing great stuff up there. This is fantastic.